All right. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Good. Excited for
Amazing.
today's podcast.
Podcast, yes. Everyone, I'm joined by Ganesh and Hemali. Ganesh is a very well-known numerologist, and Hemali is a third-generation astrologist. We're going to be spending some time talking about spirituality and astrology, just like a general podcast for everybody. But before we get started, Ganesh is going to lead a small prayer for us. So I'll let him take over, and let's do a little prayer.
Okay. So, Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurme Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Ganapataye Namah. Yes, we can start.
Thank you, Ganesh. So I'm so happy that we can finally share a screen and share some experiences. And this is not just only Ketu, because some of us are not in Ketu, but you guys you're bringing knowledge from different backgrounds, from different expertise here. And it's so nice to see you finally on the screen. I know we've been in touch for a few years. We've become very good friends. And I'm excited as you guys are the first ones on the screen. And yeah, so Ganesh, tell us how you got interested into numerology and what brought that change in you. Like, and how's your journey been? Like, what has this journey taught you so far?
Uh, for me, it is like uh, something which is very, I mean, it is very hard for me to describe my whole journey. But since the Ketu started and everything changed actually in my life, I was totally a different person. I used to be a different person. And then with the Ketu Mahadasha, the things happened in a certain pattern or certain way. I think we can relate Ketu with the spiritual awakening which happened to me. Further, as we talk in the podcast, I think I will get more time to reveal about myself and then things happen to me. But
Okay.
initially, I would say let's keep them for the longer duration. I would share some step-by-step things with you.
And would you say, now that you mentioned you had a time period of Ketu, would you say Ketu grounded you more? Like you're more grounded now after going through Ketu than you were before in Mercury?
Of course, the Ketu is something which did pull me on the grounds. I mean, with the Ketu, deeper introspection into my soul happened. I started analyzing my patterns. I started recognizing my emotions and the depth I carried upon certain aspects of my life, may it be spirituality, may it be any materialistic things also. The thinking perspective changed in a lot of certain ways. It happened to me.
Okay, and Himali, like we know you've been practicing astrology for many years, and you've seen many different type of clients and stuff. Like, how would you say Ketu impacts different people across? Like, have you seen common patterns and stuff like that? Like, would you say, like, can you describe some of the impacts that you've seen on people's careers, relationship, health? Like, is it similar that you see all across people, or like somebody suffers more than other people? Like, what kind of patterns have you seen?
That's a nice question. Actually, initially in the starting of Ketu Mahadasha, the changes that I saw in clients were not holistic. Like you said, that is it health, is it finance? It's not holistic in the starting, but as in when they go on further in the year, subsequently there are a lot of changes. It starts to impact a person holistically, I would say. So initially there would be one thing you can say DNA, do not attach. So that one pinpoint, one area that you do not have to attach to, that is that place where all these changes begin to take place. And that transformation ultimately leads to like a deconditioning of the person, essentially, then if you funnel it down.
So when someone joins you on the astrology journey and when they come to you first at the beginning of the show, and then they get to know you over the years consulting and stuff, and by the time they're done their Ketu, would you say they have evolved? They used to be scared, now they're not scared anymore. Like, have you seen those type of changes throughout their journey? Like, they become a stronger person after Ketu is over with them?
Yes, I would say that just in the middle of Ketu itself, there are a lot of changes that happen. Of course, the initial few years of Ketu are extremely tough on the person. I'm
she's
sorry,
back.
I think you guys lost me, right?
Yes, we're back.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So initially, of course, that's Sandhi itself. So Sandhi here refers to the transition phase also from so here from Mercury to Ketu. That's extremely challenging for people. The most challenging of all, especially it depends upon where your Mercury is, because you're exactly taking a jump. Your jump is going from that place to the place where Ketu is. And in itself, Ketu is extremely saintly energy. It's an energy that of a monk. It wants you to leave a lot of things, which is all the more difficult in today's time. Because one thing that Ketu comes with as a test again and again is distraction. A lot of distractions that keep on coming in a person's life. So I would say that yes, the Sandhi, the transition from Mercury to Ketu, extremely tough. And then from there on, the first 2-3 years of Ketu, extremely tough. And I think by then, the person sort of gets a hang of it.
So you would say by the time Rahu and Ketu comes around, the storm has passed, things start to settle down in people's personalities, behaviors, they're a little bit more grounded, they get a hold of themselves, right?
Yes,
Okay.
they're sort of, yeah, come again?
Sorry. No, I was going to say, I'll let you finish, then I was going to jump to Ganesh for a different question.
Yes. Definitely, Ketu Rahu is the time when the final sort of alignment is taking place. But I would also like to say that it depends a lot upon the consciousness level that you've been keeping intact with. So that Chetana part, the consciousness, the Vivek plays a big role, because I also feel that astrology in general, not just Ketu Mahadasha, comes with a lot of backlogs. So like if you fail in a particular semester, that lesson does get forward on. Um, and this is something that was said to me by my teacher also. So it really depends upon how well you have carried forward those lessons and really absorb them in your being. And then, yes, ideally, Ketu Rahu comes like the final alignment.
Okay. And you mentioned a very good topic, and there we'll come back to it. You have noticed a pattern of distraction as well in people's life, that Ketu tries to test you step after step if you have learned your lesson or not. That's a very deep topic I want to come back to later in the chat today. But Ganesh, what can you tell us a little bit about people who are more Ketu dominant? I don't know much about numerology, but you're the more expert in it. So like people who are ruled by number 7, I've heard they're Ketu dominant, right? How can you tell someone who's heavily Ketu influenced what type of energies you see in them, and what more can you add on to it?
So first of all, people with number 7 actually are the people hard to understand. They are very hard to understand initially. A lot of times people get confused with their behaviors. In numerology, there are two numbers. First of all, there is Mulyank and there is Bhagyank. So first of all, when you add your birth day, if it is 7, if it is 16, if it is 25. So adding these two numbers, you get number 7. That is the personality number, psychic number, or the Mulyank. That is how you are basically, your behavior is. And when you add whole birth date, if it is like 25, 9th of September and 1998, then the addition will be 7. So in this kind of things, then the Bhagyank will be 7. Now these two numbers play different role. I think when I'm telling you, it's hard to imagine to you, but I would say I'll tell you the more direct personality traits of a person, how number 7 people are. They are their energy level is very high, basically, in the start. They can understand people by looking at themselves, by being around them. They get to know about their energy, their intentions. Their intuition power is very high, this kind of people. Uh, you just cannot lie to them because they can catch you at any point of time. So they have very high spiritual level. But sometimes some people are not able to recognize the thing, and that's the reason they are not able to use their intuition power, use their Ketu abilities in fullest way. So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of personality traits by how you can recognize those persons. There are certain examples I have seen in my studies that these people are very hard sometimes to their behavior is very hard to be predictable. I mean, they are unpredictable at some point of time. You cannot just predict their behavior. They just do not care about the materialistic world, how you take decisions, how the people take decisions. They go wild. They do by themselves what is correct and what is not. They decide for themselves. That is how Ketu is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a very deep topic just on numerology alone. Like, I want to focus more on Ketu today. And I think we'll do a separate special one on how numerology impacts the individual's life. Like, I know in the past I briefly talked to you about like how house numbers are have a special meaning when you're picking the house you want to live in. Even you have helped many clients across, like even setting up their email, their business name, and some are good luck, good fulfilling, and some you can tell right away by calculating in your expertise that it's not going to do so well and stuff like that. So I think our audience would love it if we can do a special on just numerology alone. But today we'll come back more into like the Ketu side. And speaking of Ketu, like I want to come back to you, Hemali, first and ask like without even opening charts today, guys. Like my goal is to have normal conversation without opening up charts. That without opening astrology chart, like how when somebody approaches you or when you're around somebody, how can you tell that Ketu has arrived in their life or they're about to go into Ketu Mahadasha? Like just from your years of doing astrology, and what are some of the signs that somebody can pick up on and be like, okay, you know what, this person has entered or is about to enter Ketu Mahadasha. Like, let's talk about that. I'll share mine at the end that I've noticed some common patterns, but from your expertise, like what are some of the common signs that somebody can find out that without even any astrologer consultancy or something that just pick up on it?
That's an interesting question again, because this question I would like to I would like to keep the answer in brief, because now there are a lot of connotations to how there's also physical astrology wherein you can see and you can guess that okay, this person is Ketu dominant, but we'll not get into that samudrik gyan today. And just by behavior, if we can pick up, then one of the things is the person getting deep into self-awareness and self-discovery. So I would like to share with you this one interesting incident that happened with me. I was doing this consultation with a lady, and she came to me with the birth chart of her son. And she was discussing a lot of things, this and that, that and this. But somehow, when the whole consultation ended, she just had one question in regards with her own life. Everything was her son's. So there's something that clicked to me, and I said that let us look into your chart, because you asked me one very specific question, and that cannot. I don't want to even address that question from this, because it was a lot from self-awareness. It was a lot about self-awareness and knowing what's within me. And I was just guessing this can be Ketu. This can be Ketu. This can be Ketu. So also, so at that point of time, I didn't know her chart. That's what I'm saying. And it turned out to be that she was into Ketu Mahadasha. So I wanted to share something that also turned out to be right for me when I made a guess. And this was the first time I knew this person, and she took a first consultation. Yeah. So her question was also related to self-inquiry and knowing herself beyond the conditioned mind that she has. So we all know ourselves. I would like to say that we all know ourselves, but do we know ourselves from the actual perspective of who we are, or do we know because this is what my father taught me and this is what my mother taught me and this is what I was taught in school, so this is I. This is one of the biggest things that you can see, and you can tell that yes, this person is either Ketu dominant or they're going through Ketu start again.
So one of the things I see from that is when someone comes to you and they really want to find out who they are at the deep soul level, like who am I? What am I here to do? Like when people start asking those kind of questions, they start asking their own daily lives, their interests. Like, what is it that makes me happy, or like, why am I even doing this job anymore, or like, who am I what makes me happy? Like, when people start questioning themselves at that deep level, like that's a good indication, you would say, of someone who's entered or is going through Ketu.
Actually, pretty much yes. And I would also say that it depends a lot upon in which trikon, in which rectangular places your Ketu is placed. Is it in Earth trikon? Is it in the Dharma trikon? Is it in your Kam trikon? Or is it in your Moksha trikon? But ultimately, yes, Ketu will always lead you to questioning who you are. Because now this is a rebirth.
Yeah.
So, and this is not a physical rebirth. You have died at a soul level. You have completed all your karma. You've exited the Mercury, the last nakshatra. So it's like a 27 nakshatra cycle is ending, and now you're entering Ashwini again. So this is now like a new life.
Yeah. And Ganesh, what about you? Like, when you go to people's house for consultation, or even your social circle or over in life, like, can you say you can tell somebody's going through Ketu by just looking at their appearance now? Somebody who used to be into cars and stuff now is going to temples or wear traditional clothing. Like, what kind of patterns physically even would you say have you seen in people who are transitioning from Mercury to Ketu? And like, how can you identify someone by just looking at them? Ganesh, can you hear me?
Achha. Yeah, I can hear you. I thought it was a question for Hemali, but it's okay. I mean, yeah, basically, Ketu do make you reflective person. It make you do research, a lot of research. And the research, people start doing research about psychological behaviors, about spiritual patterns, about believing or not believing. They start questioning about themselves, purpose of their life. These kind of questions do come to their mind, and specifically, if the year number is 7, this kind of spiritual awakening happens a lot. Research work is done more. During these years, you can find out that people are studying astrology more, studying numerology more. They are visiting temples more. These kind of patterns have been noticed in my clients. Whenever I have talked to them, they tell the stories about how their life have changed, how they have become believers, how they have stopped eating non-veg, how they have, and they are doing it by themselves. No one is forcing them. They just want to leave the things. They want to just leave the things like materialistic things. Uh, Suddenly, the people used to say, those people who used to say that money matters a lot, money is everything. After a certain period of time, I have seen them talking about money is nothing, money do not buy happiness, those kind of stuff. So these kind of drastic changes I have seen in my clients, and this is the biggest. I mean, these are the behavioral patterns which can be noticed, and which can, I mean, when you notice this kind of
I think we might have lost them there.
But I would like to add on that yes, the people do leave things, and there's a new cycle that begins from there on.
There's a lot of change. Like, I'll wait for Ganesh to come back, but in the meantime, I'll fill him in that some of the common things that I've seen just visually, like people sudden moves, people suddenly got divorced, sudden changes, like sudden deaths in the family, like your closest one going, and then your best friend could end up in a depression for 6 months. Like they're not able to recover from that shock. Like, I know it's a materialistic loss, but they are having a Kundalini awakening at the same time when Ketu is starting. So what might feel like a depression to doctors is actually a Kundalini awakening, and there's a lot of cleansing going on different levels. And people don't know how to deal with that type of energy, right? So a lot of people I know at the beginning, for the first year even, they start taking sleeping pills, especially for the people with Ketu in 12th house. Like, they think something is wrong with them. They're only able to sleep 2-3 hours. But what they don't realize is that energy is able to replenish them in 2 hours instead of 8 hours now. They're able to meditate more. And it's not till after Venus or Sun usually that people get, a normal materialistic person doesn't find out their Ketu has started until when they're actually in Ketu like a couple of years, and then they're like, oh my God, we finally understand what's going on in our life and why it was such a mess. And sudden financial loss is another one. Like when people suddenly go through big bankruptcies or turmoils, like that's a very good indication that Ketu has started doing his job. And there's many other things like detachment sometimes. Like I remember my cousin growing up one time, and his family started worrying. Like we came from a religion where astrology didn't even exist, and the family didn't believe in it. But looking back at life and seeing his patterns, that guy completely isolated himself from his cousins, friends, everybody. He would just come home from work, do his thing, spend time in nature, go canoeing, hiking, and stuff. And we thought he's gone into some kind of depression, but really, if we look back at it now, that was a prime example of Ketu. And especially in physically, if I talk about it, one of the most common changes is a lot of people change their appearance. Like people voluntarily start growing their beard, or they start becoming more religious, even extrovert religious, like going to temples and stuff like that. And I think Ganesh is going to join us back in. So that's on the physical level. Yeah. No, you're back. We didn't mess up much. I was just saying how some of the physical changes I've noticed in people's life, like they're from their parents changing or some lifestyle changing, right? Speaking of lifestyle, I've seen people downgrade, like people who used to live in fancy homes, now they're going through a hard time. They move to a smaller apartment or smaller place, let go of their cars and stuff like that. So even in the materialistic world, we start seeing some of these changes, right? So one advice that I think you guys can all agree on is if you know or think someone is going through Ketu Mahadasha, go spend time with them. Give them a hug. Spend 1 hour talking to them, just telling them how much they mean to you, because all they need is your unconditional love. And they're not asking for any money or something, because they're so lost, right, in their life. They have just taken a rebirth. And in this busy lifestyle, like I think we forget to check up on our friends and family sometimes because we think they're going crazy. But especially a Ketu is not easily understood by others. Like Hemali, you take over now and say like how Ketu people are so misunderstood or isolated because only a Ketu person understands Ketu, what they're going through, right? So how do you deal with clients like who are so isolated, or like what's some advice other than like something like journaling? What do you suggest to them to feel grounded, to feel peace? Like how do you align them?
It's so what you said that how they're misunderstood. I actually wrote 1.5 years back a post on how Ketu is an energy that is misunderstood by people because often people take them as cowardly. So there's a lot of cowardice energy that people feel from them because Ketu makes you an introvert. Ketu makes you an introvert because it wants you to look within. And then these people begin to enjoy solitude. They want their me time. And this me time is actually not even coming from an egoistic level. And this is something that often people will not understand around them until unless, like you said, you sit with them and you talk to them, you talk with them, you make an effort to really understand the other person. Because now Ketu oriented person is coming from a lot of depth. And I always take Ketu as roots. So the concept of roots and Ketu are similar. So you cannot understand anything that is beneath the ground. There's a lot of secrecy also into it. You can only know as much as the other person wants to reveal. But yeah, can you come with a question again? You asked me something. You asked me about misunderstanding, or what was the other thing that you said at the end?
How, when clients come to you, like how do you advise them to stay grounded? Someone who's really lost in the beginning of Ketu, like what are some of the things you would recommend to someone who's new to Ketu and doesn't know how to handle this isolation? Like how can they find peace in the situation they're in?
Yes. So peace is essentially already there, which Ketu will tell with time. But that habit of looking inwards has not been there. So henceforth the question that how can we ground, right? And again, Ketu is roots. Until unless the roots is not firm, the tree cannot really stand upright and strongly and firmly. Henceforth, everything that one can do in order to ground themselves is what Ketu then teaches you. That is the all the more the lesson of Ketu, because as I told you, distractions, multiple distractions, but are even there in the present moment, because it is only the present moment that you have. So henceforth, basically what people can do is a lot of grounding activities, doing forest bathing, going for a walk. You don't even need to be that fancy with your entire grounding practices, because sometimes the only grounding that you is maybe just sit with your phone off, not ringing and not buzzing, and just maybe just sit, maybe look outside the window, look at the trees that are swaying because of the
So
wind,
basically,
and appreciate little
you're saying
moments. Yeah.
is spend time with yourself in any way form, like whether it be yoga, meditation, walking, journaling, like anything in which you do self-reflection a lot. Like it doesn't have to be barefoot walking in the forest, but it could be picking up a pen and pencil, sitting down just to write down your thoughts, clearing your mind.
When you talk about writing down, if you know the story of Mahabharat, in that the pen was given by whom? The pen was given by Lord Ganesh. I mean, and then there was the entire Mahabharat was written, right? So, I mean, Ketu is pen. And you will see that very Ketu-oriented people, when it comes to verbal talking, they'll keep looking up and they'll try to fetch words from the sky or something, from the ski ceiling or something. And they're trying to articulate it. It's coming slowly as messages from the sky above. But when they begin to write, they will write very nicely with a lot of eloquence, and actually it will have a lot of power and impact. So Ketu is also the time wherein it's not just artistic writing, it's not just creative writing, it's also an outlet, because whatever that is within you now needs to come out in some form. And not always you can have a therapist, not always you can have a counseling session, and not always you can uh, have a friend next to you. And there are some things that you just cannot even share. So Ketu, best time, or Ketu oriented person, best time, best person to be doing journaling, because should be doing journaling. And essentially, let's say if someone doesn't really have a strong Ketu in their chart, but they want to make it strong, the remedy is to start writing journal, because it's a way to look within.
And I think a lot of people find peace once they start letting go of the outside noise through cell phones, TV, distractions, and start going in. They feel a lot more grounded. Like I have many consultations, and I know over the years you've done a lot, and you perfectly summed it up by saying when you start spending time to yourself, there's nothing more feeling grounded than that, right? Ganesh, I want to come to you a little bit now, and if you can tell us a little bit when you went through your dasha and stuff at the beginning, like how tough it was, and without getting too personal or something in general, like if somebody is watching this and they're just starting their Ketu Mahadasha, how would you comfort them, or what advice would you give them, having gone through Ketu Mahadasha yourself, and what would you say they start doing right away that it took you a long time to figure out, but if someone's watching, what advice would you give them?
So it's a time when a lot of confusion will start. Whatever life you have lived till now will be going to change. Uh, it will be sometimes drastic, sometimes in a smoother way, depends upon where your Ketu is placed and what numbers you have in your birth date. But basically, things will happen in a pattern. Patterns will be what things happened to you before or during Mercury will stop and new things will arrive. They will come to you. Basically, thoughts like going to temple, living non-veg, living materialistic things in the mind. Those kind of things will start coming to my mind. You will hate company of the people you were with. You will start isolating yourself. You will be, uh, I mean, there will be time that you will find it hard to connect with your family members, to with among your peers, among your siblings. You will find that there is a confusion and some conflict of thoughts among you people going. But do not worry. These are all things which will come, which will happen in a slower manner, but it is for the bigger benefit for yourself actually. Because before Ketu there is Mercury, and you have done a lot of random things. You have applied your brain in a lot of several times, like things. But this is a time to self-reflect on the things what you have done. What you done in your life, what actions you have done, what karmas you have performed in past few years. So basically, the time will come, you will get slower. Things will not happen in a faster way as it used to be. You might be a sharpest boy in the classroom. You might be the smartest person who is able to manage finances and do multiple work at a time. But during this time, it's a time for slow down and let the things get slow down. It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely just surrender. One word for the Ketu is just surrender yourself.
And
Surrender to the higher power.
I
That's
remember
it.
in when we used to talk before, during a Ketu Mahadasha, Ketu gave you an opportunity to achieve something higher. Like, I don't want to talk about your placement, but Ketu took you to higher studies. I know you accomplished your master's in the field you were studying and stuff. Ketu helped you achieve that. Like, so when people are scared that Ketu is going to be a bad time, astrologer scares somebody, that it's a beautiful time actually. Like someone like you has gone through it now. You might have been scared at once, but once you got transformed, you realize how big of a blessing it was. Like you let go a lot of your bad habits, a lot of bad patterns. You're more happy now. Someone who's gone through it, who's gone through the transformation, and here you are saying today that it's a beautiful journey. Like you achieved a lot. You are more stronger than you were before going into Ketu, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to focus upon that part also. So earlier, I have been through a lot of bad habits. I would agree to them actually. And but with the Ketu, start of a Ketu, I began to realize the things, what is good and what is bad for me and for the society also sometimes. And then again, Ketu gave me much more higher focus, opportunities about studying, doing masters. I did twice master. I have two masters with me in economics and finance. So it have increased my focus. It have cut off all the distractions for my life. All the people who have done all the settlements in my life, like karmic settlements have been done. Those people are taken away. New people have been introduced to me. And it's a wonderful thing going through a Ketu actually. It's not always a bad. Just you have to surrender, accept the things what are coming, and just leave the things which are meant to leave. That is what the key to Ketu is. That's it. If you agree to the concept that whatever will come, and whatever will go. If you agree to this, if you surrender to this, Ketu will not trouble you. He will
So,
absolutely support you and give the opportunities to you.
so from what I understand, is you're encouraging people. If Ketu's trying to bring in change into your life, don't fight it. Embrace it with open
Mm.
arms. Let it come. That change is for a better future of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. You just listen to what Ketu wants to tell you. It depends upon which house he is, which number he is having in your birth date. But listen to his messages. And the biggest message of all the messages is just surrender, accept the things happening to you, just stay grounded, look at the things, but just do the self-reflection as much as possible. You will get to the solutions. Things will get settled down. You have to worry about nothing. You just have to surrender, listen to the Ketu's message. That's it. That's it. And see where he will take you. He will take you lot more to the higher things you have never imagined. Yeah, I would say.
And that's one of the things I see commonly. Like people always say how big of a blessing it was when Ketu comes around, and it goes so fast because it is such a short period of time, and things are happening so fast. You're going through all these different antardashas so quickly. Like one time you're healing your emotions, next time you're healing your body, and before you know it, you're getting prepared to launch your new business that you finally discover your passion now, and you're looking back like, oh my God, why didn't I just think of this in the last 2 years or something, right? Because Ketu wanted you to clean your past first and then start something new. Like it's happening so fast. Before you know it, here you're enjoying Venus Dasha today, and you have all the things that you could have ever even imagined of, like, but there's also peace, happiness that you never would have gotten if you're buried under all the stress from Mercury. And I know, Hemali, Ketu is probably one of your most favorite subjects because having it brings you in clients that are ready for a change sometimes. So like people that are at the peak of the stress levels, and then you have studied so many different charts, you know it's a common pattern. They're going through a hard relationship, or like they're having financial struggles and stuff like that. So what advice would you give somebody to survive during Ketu? Like someone who's very dear, or just even friends and stuff like that, someone who's watching, like how would you say to prepare for it?
I think most of it was said by Ganesh already. The word is surrender. But surrender doesn't come overnight to someone. It's a process. I would just say one thing: do not give up. It's very important because for a person who has a strong 8th house, also has a very Ketuish energy, then there's numerology. So you've got number 7. Fine. If you've got some Ketu nakshatras, maybe in the moon or something, fine. But when there's Ketu Mahadasha going on, it's a different ball game altogether. And when a person is about to start it, the changes begin to happen right in Saturn Mercury. And it's a very tough time period because now things are ending, something's dying, you are dying, your ego is dying, your whole thought process is now, what is happening? This is what people question. What is happening? They can't relate to anything, they can't relate to anyone. And the only thing that will make them feel grounded, that will make these people make them feel understood, is actually meditation. And then meditation is also tough. So you have to become very compassionate with yourself. If any of the people who are watching this video, and I would say this to my loved ones, and there are a couple of friends of mine actually who are about to start Ketu Mahadasha. So a lot of the bubbles are going to burst. A lot of illusions are going to break down, and reality will be exposed. So this can stir up a lot of emotions, and this can also lead to a emotional and mental crisis. So being compassionate to yourself first, because whatever that you are doing to others, it should be an extension from within. So if you go out and do charity, that doesn't make sense. Be charitable to yourself, be very compassionate with yourself. And with that, Ketu is also agreeing in the background. If you can hear a dog barking. Yes, and do not give up. Very important message.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what challenges one might be facing at the beginning, like a divorce, money loss and stuff, or relationship loss, like having to move, losing their house and stuff. And you say that it's happening for the better. There's something better hidden in that change, that transformation that is required.
It's going to bring you closer to your authenticity, actually. So everything that is happening to you is happening for you. But it's very difficult for the person to understand at that point. But yeah, that's why.
I think that's one of the part of self-realization, what we say, enlightenment and stuff, is to understand that we're not control of our life. There is a higher power that's guiding us, controlling us, and who's flowing through us all the time. That's when we truly realize that we are just part of the divine who's here to do our karmic cycle, and we're going to return back to the source. Ganesh, would you say you were spiritual all your life, or Ketu turned you more towards religion and spirituality, and even your music taste changed and stuff like that? So what were you always Ketu driven in Mercury in your younger life, or was the Ketu the one that brought all this change on you?
Absolutely. I mean, Ketu have refined it, but it was something from the Mercury only. There was some part of the things present in my life, whether it is music, whether it is some religious things, but those were on the very low level. Uh, just to do the things, just told by the elder people of the house, do these things in a certain way and just follow these rituals. Those are the only things which I was doing in Mercury. Apart from that, I had like very, uh, atheist kind of thinking about religion, and I used to question all the things. Why God? Why is made up of stone? Why to go to temple? Why to eat only veg? And that kind of things I was doing in Mercury. But with the Ketu, yeah, those things came to a higher level. My question changed. How can I meet God? Why I cannot just eat just eat sattvic food? Why I cannot be the person I want to be? Why I am seeking for materialistic things? Why I was thinking in that way? So these kind of changes, and again you mentioned the music of taste of music. Basically, it will play a bigger role in everybody's life. Music is something which is, I mean, everybody loves music, some sort of music. But yeah, change in taste happens very rarely. And I have noticed in like a, bigger things. I used to never understand what is this classical music is, what this stotra means, what this prayers are. But all of a sudden, I am able to understand them. I am able to feel them. And these are the biggest support for me in my Ketu.
So
So this
I
kind
wanted to
of
ask you
change.
there. You're talking about all this change now. Was there a guru, a mentor that told you to do these kind of changes, or was it something that you just wanted to naturally do, start following this and become more religious and such? Was it more of an inside change that you felt, or were you being guided by a mentor or guru and stuff? Hey, said, look, you got to do this and this and this now. Like, how would you say your change was?
Absolutely. I would say divine guided me basically in the initial days. Things came in my mind. Someone was there absolutely putting thoughts in my brain. There are like, do this. And he was making me reach some places where I supposed to reach. And then people used to guide me through them. So basically, I would say divine was there, always guiding and protecting always. I would say I would definitely accept those things that he have guided me
So
in
you
a
felt
such
the
a
divine in many
wonderfully.
different forms. So you felt the divine in many different forms and shapes, like through different humans, what somebody told you in a particular way, but it resonated you in the heart, saying that's probably a God's message and stuff like that. Like there's a word for it, synchronicities. Like I know we talk about it on the phone, like 9, 9, 11 or 11, 11, like seeing physical numbers, like angel numbers, but sometimes meeting the right person at the right time and having them say exactly what you want to hear is also a big part of synchronicity. Like, oh, hey, that's like a angel giving you the right message at the right time. Like, you start noticing these kind
Absolutely.
of patterns. Like, hey, I was stuck today, or I didn't know what to do, and all of a sudden you get the phone call from the friend saying, hey, did you hear about this or that? And you're like, that's exactly what I wanted to hear about, at the right time.
Absolutely. You got it right, actually. In the when I was in Ketu, when I am in Ketu actually, and then I'm along with my Sadhi together. So I have reached a place where I met my guru also. So I was guided by a divine to reach that place at a particular time, particular moment, and I met the person. And then person became my guru, my mentor for my whole spiritual journey. And it's not about one or two incidents, it's happening. When you surrender in front of Ketu, when you accept the reality, things start happening to you. Things start happening to you. I have felt it. I have been through all of this, and so I know these things. And when I am reflecting my journey and my client's journey together, I see the patterns, same patterns. You just accept the things, you just surrender the things. Divine will guide you. He will take care of everything. Yeah.
And I want to go towards closing this podcast because I don't want to make it too long. But just before we wrap this up, I want to ask from both of you one at a time. I'll start with you, Hemali, first. Is give me two do's and don'ts that everybody should follow in Ketu. Like, what's your advice? Somebody must do, and someone should give up as soon as they can once they know they're in Ketu or they're about to go to Ketu. Like, what advice would you guys leave whoever's watching today to do and not to do? And I'll provide mine at the end.
Two things that you shouldn't do. I would like to start with that. Is do not be swayed away with distractions, because this is a limited time period when we're talking about Ketu Mahadasha. And it's coming with a lot of intensity, with a lot of divine guidance, as spoken by all of us today, the synchronicities, everything. And you're just going to waste your time in repeating the same old patterns. So do not be swayed away with all these distractions and stay committed to your authentic true self. That's point number one that you don't do. So, and second is, do not try to fit in. Be the mess that you are, because you are a mess for the other person, but internally you're getting very organized.
Can you repeat
Do
that? We
not
lost
try
you
to
there.
fit in to just
Can you
look
repeat
a
the last
certain
one?
way.
Sorry. Be yourself. We lost you there.
Yeah. Sorry about it. So, so the second point is that don't try to fit in. Do not try to fit in the crowd. Do not try to fit in everywhere and make people happy and be a people pleaser, because you are authentic. You're becoming more genuine and authentic and who you really are from all the deconditioning and all of it, right? So if you try to fit in again, you're swaying. So don't sway away in distractions. Do not try to fit in. Something that you should definitely do is learn the real nature and pattern of life, which is that it's a cycle. There's birth, there's life in between, and there's death, and there's rebirth, and there's life in between, and there's death. So learn to let go. Probably the toughest of all. And it with the letting go is what you learn these other things, that do not attach and surrender and devotion and bhakti comes into the picture, right? So first do is that, yes, that. And the second do is, you're you're being guided towards Rahu. Do not forget that it's one entity, it's one body, and Rahu is the reason you've taken this birth. So please do go with the flow and be where life is guiding you.
So don't resist change, basically. Like, go with the flow. What Ketu's trying to do, give in, even if it feels difficult in that moment, but just know it's for the better of your own future.
Absolutely.
And Ganesh, what would you suggest someone watching and having a hard time? Like, what's something they should immediately start doing, and something they should totally avoid?
I will say trust your intuitions. Whatever intuitions are coming your way, whatever
Okay.
things are coming to your mind, just trust them. Believe in them. Have faith in them. They will take you to the place you want to be. Just keep patience. You will get everything what you want. It's a time of test. Just do not give it and live the life you are getting it. Because sometimes you might think this is not the way my life should happen, but just hold on. It's a time you have to accept the things, accept to the realities coming your way, and just surrender. That's the first message I would like to give to the person who is in Ketu right now.
What I want to
About
add,
do's and don't. Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
So,
Sorry
no,
to
I'll let you
continue.
finish. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, sure. I would say develop some habit of doing research, doing some kind of research. That will keep you in a path where you want to reach actually. Do research by your own, read about the things, meet people, talk to people. Because sometimes you will feel you may like to go in isolation, but I would say do the opposite sometimes. Sometimes go and meet people, tell your situation, do research about why you are doing like these things. And then you will understand why the things are happening to you. Because research will lead you to the position where you will understand these things in deeper way. Rather than if someone telling you do this and do that, I would say.
So pursue higher
First thing I
knowledge
would
in
say.
any form, like whether it be your studies or interest or hobby. Read books to gain more knowledge.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
tying to that, I want to put in my points as well. Like, for do's and don'ts, like, number one that I want to warn people on is don't read your own chart. Okay, people have tendencies in Ketu especially. They want to research on themselves through astrology. That I want to remind everybody: a brain surgeon, is never going to do his own brain surgery. A heart surgeon is not putting up his own heart, right? You're not going to lay there
Absolutely.
and try to stitch yourself up, right? If Ketu is healing, you can't heal yourself. A Reiki healer cannot heal with his own energy. He has to go to a different healer to be healed. A surgeon, when it's his time, he has to go to a different surgeon to get surgery done. So these days, I know there's a lot of knowledge available on YouTube and blogs and online where people have this habit of just like, oh, when is this going to happen in life? Let me read my chart. Okay, this is sitting here. This means this, that. Guys, astrology is not that easy. Like, don't do your surgery on your own chart and try to make sense of what's in there. That's the first thing I want to say. And second thing is, I want to tell people to, like, don't get into addictive behavior, right? Don't indulge, like, don't have a midlife crisis. Don't buy the fanciest cars if you have money, or like start drinking alcohol. Get away from those kind of things. Don't get addicted to astrology reading or even tarots. I know people have spent thousands and thousands on tarots and stuff, like, just to find out when is this going to happen. The when and the why is not in our hands, guys. It's with the divine. Like, when the divine wants it to happen, it will happen. We go after many astrologers trying to see, can he help me? Can she help me? Can they help me? Like, I would strongly suggest go to a professional astrologer at the start of Ketu, maybe in the middle, and then make a plan for Venus. You don't need to go every month, every day trying to find the answers. No, have a strategy. Just get like a general checkup done how your Ketu Dasha is going to go. Like, is there any health factors? Don't overlook your health issues. So those are my two absolute big no-nos for don't. And then to do is always watch your health. Okay, don't neglect your health in Ketu. Watch what kind of diet changes you have to make, what kind of lifestyle changes you have to make that Ketu is trying to push you for. Because if you ignore those, if you lose your health, you have nothing else left in your life, basically. If you lose it once, you'll never get your health back. So always prioritize your health over any other materialistic attachments. And the other thing I want to say is, like, do spend time for yourself, okay? If your business is not opening or if you're not getting a job, it's okay. It's probably for a reason. Spend time in solitude as much as you can. And there's a lot of secret and hidden knowledge in there that you will discover once you tap inwards, right? And I think we'll talk more about personalities and how Ketu house types and stuff like that on our next podcast. We'll start getting to different houses, like what kind of personalities we see coming out when Ketu is in the first versus the 8th or the 9th or the 10th, like what kind of challenges they might have to face, right? Like, this is very deep. So I think we'll end our podcast here. It was so nice seeing you guys on the screen. And we'll try to do some live sessions as well and interact with some of the people who might be going through their challenging time. And they might resonate with you, Ganesh, or Hemali, or me. And then we can help them transform their life. And I think we'll be back on the screen next time. Sometime we'll make time. And I would love to see you guys back here soon. So thank you for joining. It's been such a nice experience sharing these wonderful, heartfelt conversations. And I think her internet just got disconnected, but oh, there she is. She's back. Yes. So thank you so much, guys, for coming.
But I could hear everything, actually.
Okay. So I was just saying thank you for coming, and we'll end this session here. So we'll see you guys next time. Okay.
Thank you so much for having us. It was great.
Bye, guys. Bye.